Diabetes today affects 30 million people in the U.S. and about 400 million people worldwide. But it's worse than that. The care of diabetics is getting worse. As measured by HbA1c, which is the prime metric in this disease, we're doing a poorer job managing blood sugar today than we did 5 years ago.
You see, you're the patient, but you're also sort of the caregiver. You have to do it yourself. You take care of yourself. You listen to yourself. You're responsible for keeping yourself healthy.
Tested. And again, I thought I was in the 8s. I was 10.8. And that's when I thought I was doing well. So I can only imagine, I must have been in the teens drinking. I drank whatever I wanted. I mean, diet-wise, but I mean, I'm drinking beers, eating anything I wanted. Potatoes, bread.
You have to stay on top of it, because if you don't, you will get very sick, as you guys know, or worse. That's why the research and the advances in care are so important today.
It cries out for a change. The disease, the cost of the disease is skyrocketing all over the world. There's got to be a change. And there is. It's Afrezza. Afrezza is that breakthrough that comes around once in a generation.
It can be compared to something like the change from rotary dial phones to smartphones, from paper maps to GPS systems, from flipping through books, doing research to Google. It's that significant of an advancement of human knowledge. It's what the disease of diabetes is.
Nearly 20 years after my diagnosis, I use an inhaled insulin that quickly and safely brings my blood glucose back into range. I wear a continuous glucose monitor, which is awesome. And it allows me to know at all times what my glucose levels are, so I don't go too high and I don't go too low. These advances have transformed my life.
And I found out about Afrezza. And I was at a conference in Las Vegas, the Unconference. It's the first time actually I'd been surrounded by a bunch of other diabetics, whether it's type 1, type 2. And I remember from across the room, I hear someone say that they were on Afrezza.
I've been on Afrezza, the inhaled insulin, over the last 4 months. And this is a super fast-acting inhaled insulin. And it is absolutely astounding, the power, in my mind, of that fast peak and that fast clearance.
Mr. Sparks, you talked about inhaled insulin. I have never heard of inhaled insulin. Can you talk about how long you've had that and how that's different?
Yeah, I can. I've been on inhaled insulin. It's called Afrezza. It's been on the market, I think, for a little over 2 years. Aaron Kowalski, who's
I've been on Afrezza, the inhaled insulin, over the last 4 months.
The chief mission officer for JDRF sort of turned me on to it. He said, this is something that's going on. I know it's not a lot out there, but it's really simple. It's there's no needles. You have these little pods, and there's a little inhaler device that it goes in. I find it to be, I mean, look, I don't know the science. I'm an actor. I don't even play a doctor on TV. But I know that my experience of it is that it is very quick acting. It leaves the body very quickly, maybe an hour and a half after you use it. It doesn't store and then sneak up on you like later for some unknown reason. It has been a big change for me.
So he started me on Afrezza, and I was his first patient on it.
Let's revisit. What's your A1C?
Our high 4s, low 5s.
Now, how do you maintain that? I need to know.
So I have the luxury of wearing a Dexcom CGM.
I wear one of those.
I set my high alert for 120.
120 is your high alert?
120 is my high alert. I think if I could set it lower, I would.
I was fortunate enough to find out about this because of doing American Idol and wearing a Dexcom on my strap. So luckily I've been able to just receive a bunch of emails from a bunch of people around the world, mostly the US, about being diabetic and hearing from different doctors and different test patients. When the person who introduced me to this is a man named Sam, who I believe was on the test trials and used this. Met up with him, had lunch, saw it for my own eyes. Definitely wanted to try it.
Wait,
I'll be throwing him.
So charming. Okay, now I'm gonna video this.
Okay. Is everybody ready?
Ready.
Ready? They say hold your breath for a few seconds or as long as you're comfortable with it. So I always make sure. But it feels great. Let it settle in.
Gets into your system really fast and then leaves it very fast, just like a normal healthy pancreas in folks without diabetes at all. Now, what does that equate to? Better blood sugars after eating, you get less rise depending on what you eat, and because it gets out of your system, you have less delayed hypoglycemia.
And tell you about Afrezza, the new diabetic inhaler. What's great about this is, in my experience and the experience that I've seen other people use, you simply take this little cartridge right here. If you can see, it's got some little flakes in there, right? Yeah. You basically load it in this plastic whistle. This is nothing but plastic. And you're basically putting it in. Oh, here we go. And when you close it, it kind of pushes the seal over, so it's no longer a vacuum. So now it's completely open, and I'm going to show you how simple it is basically to use this. You basically exhale.
This insulin is the fastest on the market. It has a big impact, and what it can do is prevent and fix diabetic sugar. This is a go-to product. It's novel, it's new, and it's got a lot of efficacy.
Great thing about this, it works rapidly. Within minutes, your blood sugar starts going down, not at a super fast downward rate, but kind of a diagonally down. And the reason why I like this so much more is because what happens when we take this insulin, even though I love you guys because I've been using it for, my whole life pretty much. This takes an hour to kick in. This is already done getting you where you need to be in the hour. So by the time this kicks in and starts working and starts bringing you down, this has already got you where you need to be.
So today, perfect example, I went out to lunch. I had 3 slices of pizza.
You had 3 slices of pizza?
I had 3 slices of pizza. And
how much did you take?
I took 12 units when I ate. I can show you my graph. There was not even a blip today.
You took the 12 before?
I took the 12
but you were
right when my
at
pizza
80,
was delivered.
And it never went over what?
I don't think it went over 103.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, but the beauty of Afrezza is that it's so predictable. I know if I take the right dose, like the 12 units for my pizza, that in 12 to 15 minutes, I will see a change in my graph.
Some patients actually get better blood sugar control with inhalable insulin. A lot easier.
Yeah.
Life changer.
No more needles. He says compliance often goes up as well because it's so easy to use.
The good thing about this, what I love, is that even if you do mess up and your blood sugar is high, God forbid you get up to 300 or high 200s or higher than that, it works faster than other insulin. And not only that, it doesn't make you crash. Wherever it goes, it stays. So like, let's say you do take too much and you end up being 50. Well, you're going to be 50. And if you see once you've leveled off at 50, you're not going to be doing this. You're going to just do that. So you can eat a little bit, push it up to whatever, and then, but my understanding and experience so far, it has been way better. I know there's a lot of concerns about people breathing and not being able to use it for children at this point. I don't see why it wouldn't work for children. Once again, not a scientist, not a doctor. I'm sure, it's a brand new drug. They want to make sure everything goes smoothly. So far, so good. Really enjoying it. I've have friend using it, reporting that his A1Cs are in the low 5s.
So basically, your blood sugar is better than the average human being.
I am in the non-diabetic levels right now.
So what's your blood sugar right now?
Right now, 89.
Yeah, let's have a blood sugar off.
It just went up to 90.
All right, so look, I'm competitive, 138. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fucking around.
I love it. It doesn't seem to have the same low quality that I've had before when I was using bottle insulin. So I love it. I sing its praises whenever I talk to anybody. Yeah.
And so if you're diabetic or you know somebody who is, or you concerned you might be, you don't need to go into your doctor, get checked, and you need to demand Afrezza if you are having blood sugar control issues. And if that doctor pushes back and says, well, this isn't really right for you, you need to push back. You need to demand it. And if that doctor for some reason won't give it for you, you need to contact us here at VDEX, because we exist to solve this problem. We believe you can beat diabetes. And we believe Afrezza is the answer.
Ask your doctor if Afrezza inhalable insulin is right for you.
Sugar just missing at the buzzer.
Give it up for two of the world's greatest dribblers!
I can't go up against this guy because we don't have anything to argue about. This guy understands the problem and he's part of the solution. Bring me the guy that did the.
I'll take it to the guy that did. But I have this like one drop. Mike gave it to me. Mike is the CEO.
I really like it. It's so nice looking.
Yeah, he gave it to me. Said it's a program, it's an app, and it comes once a month with the test strips. But it looks cool. And also.
So it's a unlimited test strips or something like that a month?
Yeah, you get like, I guess, you get.
Honestly, I wish I knew about this a couple years ago when we didn't have insurance and we were paying so
Look at that.
much
Let me see what you got to do. Let me see it.
Let me finish.
Let me see it.
Let
me see.
I don't want you to see my. No.
Look, you're ashamed. Look, my shit is on the table. Look.
I know.
That's what all I got to do.
Dude, I think I got smacked.
Well, just throw it out. Everybody, just put it on out there.
Let's put it out there.
I can do that.
All right. Anybody want to zoom in?
That shit might break.
This casket of. First, I got my tester.
Damn, you see the dust flying out of there?
Yo, that's like the 80s right there.
I got my two types.
Tripping, B.
Insulin. But you know, you kind of get.
Haven't seen those in a while.
That's me right there.
Oh my God, you're bringing back memories.
I
think Tasha Gugu had the number one.
You don't have a cap on that. Where's your cap at?
It fell off.
That's bugged out. You
Oh
tripping,
my God.
B.
Hey, but you got the.
Oh, you know what? I found this.
Yo, how come there's no cover on that, though?
Found this in San Pedro.
I think it's cool to see how everyone's method are, especially Barney Rubble over here. But
I am the Neanderthal of insulin.
That
I
shit
admit
is
it.
crazy right there. That's crazy. The dirty needle took the whole cake. Hopefully we can get you a better method, and you don't catch nothing else. Or give nothing else with that needle, man.
I don't share
Thanks for
it.
coming through. I can dig it. It's all good. Thank you, Mike, for coming through.
Thank you.
Afrezza.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming through.
My pleasure.
Thanks for wussing out, but I ain't gonna say nothing about it. I thought we'd bring the CEO of One Drop, and he could tell us a little more about it and the innovative entrepreneurial way he's approached this. Because I got questions.
Oh,
So come on out here. And that's what happens. You might come into this kitchen and this is what happens. What's happening, bro?
What's up, man?
And you know what I didn't add? That you're also a type 1 diabetic as well.
Absolutely.
All right, so.
Making products for people with diabetes, by people with diabetes.
So how long have you been diabetic?
A little over about 3 years. Yeah.
You just became
Yeah,
diabetic?
just got type 1 3 years ago.
So you just got in the game and 3 years later you just made it better?
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with what was going on in the diabetes gear space and all the equipment and stuff that was available. It just really wasn't meeting my needs. I feel like a diabetic.
Not diabetic, like that's gangster.
Whatever, bring
diabetic.
it.
It's like
Yeah.
you got that card
That's right.
got dealt you deal
Boom.
with it. Bam.
Yeah, exactly. And so we said, hey, let's make the gear something people can put on the table with their iPhone or with their Android or whatever and feel really great about. You check your steps with your Fitbit. I check my blood with my One Drop.
Right. All right, thanks for coming through, bro. And thanks for the innovation. I appreciate all of it. I'm gonna use it. I suggest everyone use this One Drop. It works out. And how can I get it?
Great. You can get it at onedrop.today.
Onedrop.today. Holla back. All these innovations is great. One more pound. I respect it. Entrepreneurial shit.
In looking at the product label, I see that hypoglycemia is listed as the #1 side effect. How do you explain this?
So when you're testing a diabetes medication, in most tests, those patients are on something else. They're taking something else to manage blood sugar, and you're adding your medication in with that. So if a patient has a side effect, there's no way of saying, well, that side effect came from that medication, not ours. It gets tagged to you. And, the FDA, it's sort of bureaucratic stupidity, but that's what they do. Now, we've tested Afrezza ourselves on patients who weren't taking anything else. And mankind has too. We've given these patients doses of insulin, Afrezza insulin, that if it were injected insulin would put them in the hospital or in the morgue. And that's not being dramatic. We're talking about serious doses of insulin. They didn't become hypoglycemic. It's a shame because this product, Afrezza, is tagged with this hypoglycemic risk, as you rightly point out in the label, but it does a complete disservice to it. Advantage. Do the bureaucrats at the FDA care? Well, I don't know whether they care. But patients are the loser for it.
Is this the same issue with the lung cancer risk?
Yeah, it pretty much is. the FDA is, I mean, in some ways it's very frustrating. If you took clear mountain air today and put it in a jar and wanted to get FDA approval for it, the FDA would probably ask for a cancer warning on it. And you know, in other words, this might cause cancer. Well, everything might cause cancer. Afrezza was extensively tested for carcinogenicity, and there were no cancer signals in it. And yet it's got a cancer warning, and that scares people away. So what happens? People lose out. Doctors don't prescribe it. Patients lose.
Ask your doctor if Afrezza inhalable insulin is right for you.